Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Health Zone with Gilbert Chia. My name is Gilbert Chia and I'm the editor of Health Zone Singapore, a Facebook page that gives advice about health and wellness, specifically curated from a Singapore perspective. So today we're going to talk about something that everyone thinks about and many people worry about, but few people actually know what to do about. And that is our brain health and our memory and how to keep them functioning smoothly as long as possible. Our brains grow as our bodies grow, and it reaches a maximum capacity in our 20s. And then it starts to decline and shrink. Yes, by the time we are in our late 20s, our brains are already starting to decline in capacity. In general, by the time we are in our 40s, there is a 3 to 4% decline in memory, reasoning, and comprehension. Our brains will shrink in size, and neurons will die. Sounds scary? Well, don't worry. The brain is actually capable of functioning well even if it's shrunk a bit. And the good news is that there is a lot we can do to protect and promote brain health. However, there are also many things that we do without thinking that can actually harm the brain and lead to cognitive impairment afflictions such as Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. And dementia is a growing problem among the elderly in Singapore. 1 in every 10 people aged 60 and above in Singapore has dementia now, and this number will only continue to increase as our population ages. It's so important to state that growing old does not mean that you automatically get dementia. So in this episode, I wanted to highlight the key factors that affect brain health and what we should all do more of and what we should do less of. There are things that we are doing which might be harming us without us even knowing, and things that we can do to make ourselves much healthier and less likely to develop dementia as we get older. Point number 1, diet. Diet plays a big role. This may seem surprising because many people don't know that there is a link between diet and brain health. It's well known that what we eat affects our heart, but the connection between diet and our brains is just as strong. In fact, the foods that are good for the heart are also good for the brain, and the things that are bad for the heart are also bad for the brain. And one of the most important things to watch out for when we eat is sugar. Studies have found that people with high blood sugar have a faster rate of mental decline than those with normal blood sugar, even if our blood sugar levels are not high enough to make us diabetic. In fact, people who have type 2 diabetes are almost twice as likely to get Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, which is really horrible if you think about it. You already have diabetes, and then that makes you so much more prone to dementia as well. And this is especially significant in Singapore because our country, has the second highest rate of diabetes in the developed world, which is a really shocking statistic. There are many connections between diet, diabetes, and dementia. A diet that is high in sugar and simple carbohydrates can lead to diabetes, and this high blood sugar levels that diabetics have can cause several complications. And one of the main ones is damage to our blood vessels, and the brain is packed with blood vessels. So you see the connection there. In fact, besides Alzheimer's, diabetes is also implicated in another form of dementia known as vascular dementia, which occurs when the blood flow to it and in the brain is reduced or blocked because of damage to the blood vessels that is caused by too much sugar in the blood. And when we talk about sugar, we're not just talking about the table sugar or sweet desserts. It's also important to be aware of sugar in the form of glucose, which the body makes from carbohydrates that we eat. When we eat carbohydrates, the body converts this to glucose, and the body treats the glucose in our blood exactly the same as if we had just consumed white table sugar. When we eat carbohydrates such as rice, noodles, bread, cakes, fruits, etc., the body converts them to glucose. And this glucose is the same in the body as the table sugar that we eat. So we have to be aware of our overall carbohydrate intake and to avoid eating too much carbs. Studies have found, and this is really amazing, that people who ate the most carbs had an 80% higher chance of developing a condition known as mild cognitive impairment or MCI compared to those who ate the smallest amount of carbs. Now, what is MCI? MCI is a condition where people experience more thinking and memory problems than are usually present at that age. People with mild cognitive impairment may go on to develop Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. And research indicates that diabetes will also increase the risk of MCI worsening into dementia. So watch your sugar and carbohydrate intake and really cut down on simple sugars, especially soft drinks. And don't be fooled also by fruit juice. Very often people think fruit juice is healthy. And while it may be better than, let's say, a sugary soft drink, the problem with fruit juice is that you're removing a lot of the pulp and it's a concentrated form of sugar in there. So there's no such thing as being natural sugar and that being better than so-called artificial sugar. In your body, it's going to be the same. So watch out for the amount that you're consuming. Point number 2 that really affects your mind is exercise. Exercise is not just good for the body, but also for the brain, believe it or not. Experts believe that regular physical exercise can reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease by as much as 50%. And just as importantly, for those who have already started developing dementia and other cognitive issues, exercise can help to slow down the progression of this illness. This is because exercise increases beneficial brain chemicals while also increasing blood flow, and this helps protect the brain's ability to maintain old connections as well as to make new ones. If you did not think you needed to exercise because you're not overweight, you are forgetting it's not just for your body, it's also for your brain. Aim to do at least an hour of moderately intense exercise 3 times a week. The best type of exercise program for brain health is one that combines both cardio exercise and strength training. One of the best things you can do, regardless of age or gender, is to train with weights. Yes, you might be thinking, what, weights? Why do I need weights? But that's because moderate levels of weight and resistance training will give you 2 great benefits. 1, it's good for the brain, and 2, it will increase your muscle mass, which becomes all the more important as you age. You see, this is because muscle is metabolically active, which means the more muscle you have, the higher you will burn calories and the higher your metabolism, and you will burn more calories and fat. And having more muscle also makes you stronger and more stable, which helps prevent falls and head injuries. The risk of falling increases as we age, and head injuries increases the risk for dementia, so this is all connected. Other forms of exercise that can help you improve and strengthen your balance and coordination are also very valuable. For example, yoga, qigong, or tai chi, which are all excellent low-impact exercises and very good, especially for senior citizens. And please don't think that you're too old to work out. For those over 65, adding just 2 to 3 strength training exercises to your weekly routine can cut your risk of Alzheimer's by half. So exercise and use weights. Third point is something that may surprise people, but it is very significant. And this is protecting against hearing loss and social isolation. This point has nothing to do with diet or exercise, and yet it plays a huge role in the development of dementia, and that is social isolation. When a person has no one to talk to or communicate with, or when they're alone most of the time and all of the time, their risk of developing dementia increases by 50%. Social isolation also increases a person's risk of heart disease by almost 30%, and the risk of stroke by over 30%, around 32%. And of course, loneliness is associated with higher forms of depression, anxiety, and suicide. When we think of socially isolated people, we normally imagine someone who is living alone without family or friends. But there is another form of social isolation that is just as harmful, even if the person is right there living with a family and there are a lot of people around them. And that is someone who has lost their hearing. And this happens a lot when you get older. When a person loses their hearing, they are unable to take part in conversations. They can't hear what their family members are talking about, even if they're just passively listening. They cannot even watch TV or listen to music or the radio. And deprived of this stimulation and engagement, parts of the brain actually shut down. and the brain will then shrink. Constant stimulation and interaction is so important to the brain that when it's deprived and cut off from the world, as in the case of hearing loss, the brain functions all decline, and this increases the risk for dementia. So it's really interesting that individuals with moderate to severe hearing loss are up to 5 times more likely to develop dementia. And whether you are a senior facing hearing loss or you know a senior in your family or a friend who has got hearing loss, please make the effort to go and see a specialist. Get your hearing tested and get a hearing aid, because losing your hearing and your social interactions can lead to losing your mind. And there's something very interesting also about hearing loss. A lot of times we think that hearing loss is caused because the nerves in the ear get old and damaged, and that may be one of the cases. But there's another reason, a common reason for hearing loss, which will surprise many people, and that is impacted earwax. For a lot of people, for some people, as they get older, the earwax in their ears actually hardens and becomes impacted. And this can actually make their hearing much worse without them even knowing what the cause is. So definitely please get your hearing tested, find out the cause for your hearing loss, and get a hearing aid. That is so important. And finally, the fourth point that is so important to preserve brain function and to protect your brain is something that we all love to do, but we do much too little of, and that is sleep. Yes, sleep is also important for the brain health and memory function and memory retention. And the lack of sleep has some very serious consequences on the brain. Scientists have long known that people with Alzheimer's disease have clumps of 2 types of sticky proteins in their brains. These proteins, which are known as beta amyloid and tau, are believed to damage and destroy brain cells. Now, these proteins form in the brain, but during sleep, especially deep sleep, the body releases cerebrospinal fluids that wash away these sticky plaques from the brain. And just one sleepless night raises the levels of these proteins. So if your body doesn't get the quality sleep it needs, over time, this beta amyloid and tau proteins are not being adequately cleared from the brain. It's possible that this can lead to the buildup of these dangerous proteins, which then increases the risk of Alzheimer's disease. So there you have it. You've got the 4 important things that you've got to do for brain health. They're not difficult to do. They may seem surprising, but they are so important. So focus on these, and here's to great, not just physical health, but mental health as well. That's it for this week of Health Zone with Gilbert Chia. Join us again next week. And in the meantime, please comment, like, and subscribe to our channel. Give us your feedback. And we'll see you next week with another interesting, informative episode of Health Zone. Thank you for joining us.